today's meeting. I have received letters of intent from 2 candidates in alphabetical order, Aaron Goldhamer and Leslie Herrick. Are there any other nominations from the floor? Seeing none, we will move on. I would now like to introduce the candidates. Leslie has agreed to go first. She will have a nominator, a second, and she will speak herself, and the candidates have been limited to 10 minutes. Leslie Herrick.
Greetings and good afternoon, District 8 Democrats, and congratulations and thank you for staying here for this long morning and early afternoon, but that's what we do, isn't it? We're Democrats and we stay to get the job done. I'm Rosemary Marshall. I'm a proud Democrat and the former state representative of this great House district. I have known Leslie Herrick for over 10 years. In fact, Leslie was a legislative aide when I was in office. She is experienced. She's worked as a senior human services and criminal justice policy analyst in the Colorado Governor's office. She served nonprofits where she was a leader on LGBT equality and alliance building in communities of color. Leslie's passion for this community is unparalleled. She doesn't shy away from tough issues and is always ready to roll up her sleeves and fight with us and for us. Leslie needs to be the next state representative for House District 8. She doesn't just talk at us, she listens and she hears us. She will fight for us, for our children, and for our community. She is the strong, effective, and compassionate leader we need now. And that's why I am proud to nominate Leslie as the next state representative for House District 8.
Thank you, Rosemary. House District 8, how are you today? Yeah! It's great to see all of you guys filling this wonderful auditorium. My name is Spencer Duncan, and I too am a proud member of House District 8. This is my very first Denver Democratic Assembly. And with all of your help, you Bernie supporters, you will help me ride this train to Philly. Although the representative and I may not agree on who the next presidential nominee should be, we can agree on one thing. House District 8 needs a passionate and dedicated leader who is going to fight for our community. And that person is Leslie Herrick. She is the right person at the right time for House District 8, and I am proud to second her nomination.
Thank you. Well, hello, House District 8 Democrats. My name is Leslie Herrick, and I am running to be your next state representative. First, let me tell you what an honor it is to be nominated by my friend and mentor and the former state representative for House District 8, Rosemary Marshall. Thank you. And thank you, Spencer, for your second. All of my life, I have been fighting for justice and equality for all people. Some would even say that I came out of the womb fighting. In fact, I know my mom would say that. But the truth is, I got my fight from my mom. You see, my mother fought every day as a single mother to make sure that her children had the opportunities that she did not, the life that she didn't have. As an officer in the Army, she was often one of the highest-ranking African-American females on base. My brother and I were always so proud of her when she put on her uniform every day and went to work for our country. I remember our commissary days vividly. We would go shopping, often in the evening, my mom still in uniform. And I remember one day we came across a young couple, a private and his wife. And I remember that day that instead of being saluted, my mom was spit on. While she was still holding my hand, my mother was spit on by her fellow American while saying she would never salute her. Oh, and I was scared for that woman that day. I had no idea what my mother would do. I expected a confrontation and a commotion, but to my surprise, my mom grabbed my hand and my brother's hand. She held her head up high, asked the soldier who his commanding officer was, and kept walking. I didn't realize then the significance of that moment, but I do today, and I hold it dear like a prized possession, because that was a lesson. You see, that wasn't the first time my mom had been spit on or disrespected, simply for the color of her skin, or the sake that she was a woman, or even the fact that she was a single mom. She worked hard, and despite many obstacles, she became a respected and accomplished officer. I know that her silence in that moment was her sacrifice to us, and a display of the kind of grace and fortitude that exemplifies my mother. She fought for us, and she was never going to let a bigot take that away from her or from us. Now, I could talk about my mom all day, but since she is not the one running, let me tell you about why I'm here. As the president of the University of Colorado Student Union, I fought alongside many to build a progressive coalition that demanded the university not only be responsive to its top donors, but to all students, all of us who are fighting for a better life. Students who were first generation, low-income students, dreamers, and students of color, and even the LGBT student who recently came out to his family and was cut off from all financial resources. We deserve better than what we were given, and by the age of 20, I ran a $36 million budget and worked tirelessly to bring those resources back to the students. As senior policy advisor to Governor Bill Ritter, I fought to deal with the realities of Tabor in an economy that was in recession and a state budget that cut vital services to its bone. And even in that environment, we were able to expand unemployment insurance and keep intact safety net services that Coloradans needed then more than ever and still need today. And at the Gale Foundation, At the Gale Foundation, I work with local and national leaders to bring marriage equality to all 50 states across this nation. I will always be so proud of the work that we did there. And today, as a mentor at Manual High School, I sit with young people, our future, as they struggle with the decision of whether to join a gang or to graduate. I am here today to tell you that the fight for justice and equality is not over. Today, I stand with you with a commitment to continue to fight for our community, this wonderfully diverse community that we all hold so dear. Now, there are many inspirational quotes that I can think of that capture a moment like this, and the one that comes immediately to mind is one of my idols, Barbara Jordan. She said what people really want is a community as good as its promise. It is with that determination and the determination of my mother that I will continue to fight for justice and equality right here in District 8. But I cannot do it alone, nor can any of us do it alone, because this race is not about me or my opponent, it's about you. It's about our community. Here in this room today, we are all Democrats. In fact, we are the highest performing Democratic district of the entire state of Colorado. But it is time that we stand together and we say enough is enough. We must stand and say enough is enough when it comes to an education system that turns its back on the very child who came to school eager to learn, but falls further and further behind because our system does not put enough resources in K-12 education. A system that says it's okay that college grads graduate with a lifetime of debt because we refuse to fund higher education in the state. And a system where teacher pay has actually decreased over the past 20 years, and where the NRA would rather arm our teachers with guns than books. Enough is enough. We must take a stand and say enough is enough when it comes to the rising cost of living in Denver and throughout Colorado. A system that now says it's okay that a two-bedroom apartment in 5 Points costs $2,300, but refuses to raise the minimum wage. Enough is enough. And we must take a stand and say no more to a corrupt and unjust criminal justice system that perpetuates the prison industrial complex and places a higher value on filling prison beds than it does in classroom chairs. Enough is enough. Together, we will fight for a criminal justice system that is accessible and affordable for everyone. We will fight for a criminal justice system that keeps our communities safe and our families together and puts an end to private prisons for good. And together, we will fight for a living wage for all of Colorado's workers. We will no longer shame the homeless and steal their possessions, and we will treat veterans and seniors with the dignity and respect that they deserve. Now, I have a proven track record for fighting for positive change in this community. That's who I am. But more important is my commitment to you, because I say enough is enough. And just as my mom worked so hard to fight for me and my brother, so too will I fight for this community. My name is Leslie Herod. I ask for your support today and your vote, because together we will build a community as good as its promise. Thank you.
While they're leaving the stage, Kyle Wilding, are you sure that you're in the right House district? You want to check with Kevin? On the note I have here, it says that you're in House District 6. Okay, and our next candidate to speak is Aaron Goldhamer.
Estoy muy orgullosa de presentarle a mi amigo y colega Aaron Goldhamer. My name is Ana Martinez, and I'm very proud and honored to be here speaking for you to introduce and nominate my friend and my colleague Aaron Goldhamer, House District 8. You know, the reason that I'm supporting Aaron is two reasons in particular: follow through and know-how. One thing I can tell you about Aaron, as a trial lawyer, he understands that he has to go the distance and follow through for all of his clients until he gets a result for them. He understands the process. He understands what it's like to have to go the distance and be tenacious to get those results. I know Aaron is going to be able to do that for people in House District 8. The other reason that I'm supporting Aaron is because he does have the know-how. Aaron is very experienced. He has a background as a teacher. But also in the legal system, Aaron has understood what it takes to maneuver on behalf of people, not corporate interests, not developers moving into our neighborhoods and raising the cost of living, and not bow down to interests that are greater than the people who are supposed to be supporting you. I know Aaron is accountable to the community members, I know Aaron is responsive, and I know Aaron supports women's rights in this community. Those are things that are very important for us. And above all, Aaron believes in equal access to services for all people in our district, English speaking and Spanish speaking, and I appreciate Aaron for that. So I present to you Aaron Goldhamer.
Thank Thank you, Anna. Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon, Denver Democrats. It's great to see everyone here. Thank you for hanging in with the long day. My name is Aaron Goldhamer, and I am running to be your next State House representative. It was my pleasure to serve as the captain in the House District for 4 years, doing a lot of volunteer organizing, running our Get Out the Vote efforts, a little bit of fundraising, running monthly meetings. It was my honor to receive the 2014 Volunteer of the Year Award for the whole county, mostly because, thank you, mostly because I was able to talk a lot of people in this room into doing really hard work. So thank you. I know how hard everyone works in this room, and so I really appreciate that. I serve on a couple of boards here in town. I serve on the NARAL Pro-Choice Colorado board, fighting for the right to choose. I serve on the Legal Aid Foundation Associates Board, getting attorneys for people who can't afford them in civil matters. And I'm on board with the new rec center that's going in next to East High School. That's going to be a fantastic addition to the district. That's a little bit about me. I'm a Denver native, former teacher, currently an attorney. I represent people and small businesses that have been ripped off. So pushing back on the abuse of power and making sure that everyone gets a fair shake is really what I'm all about. Are people getting a fair shake? I don't think so. We have thousands and thousands of people in Colorado that are working hard, playing by the rules, working 40 hours a week, and living in poverty. We've got to do something about the minimum wage, and we've got to ensure equal pay for equal work. Because otherwise, people just aren't getting a fair shake. Are people getting a fair shake when we don't have access to affordable childcare or health care or housing? No, people are not getting a fair shake when that happens. People are not getting a fair shake when they're breathing dirty air or drinking dirty water because someone else is trying to make a buck. People aren't getting a fair shake when they're cut down by random gun violence. People aren't getting a fair shake when they're discriminated against in public accommodations or in the workplace or in housing because of their race or their sexual orientation or their national heritage. People just aren't getting a fair shake on that front. They're not getting a fair shake when they're profiled by law enforcement and they get disparate plea bargaining offers from district attorneys. People aren't getting a fair shake when they've worked their whole lives and yet they face poverty in retirement. You know, it's not right, and I want to do something about it. I think these values are shared with a lot of people, but it's the task of translating social values into social rules that is the task of politics. And I think a lot gets lost in translation. So I think it's important to know what our social rules look like. You know, we have a rule that prevents cities from raising their own minimum wage. If we wanted to raise our own minimum wage in Colorado or in Denver, we can't even have that conversation. I want to get rid of that law so our progressive communities can enact progressive policies. We've got a similar law that prohibits cities from enacting any sort of rent control. Rent control is a tricky topic, but if we're able to have that conversation at a local level, we could at least bring some people to the table on our affordable housing crisis. We can look at steps that we can take to increase Colorado's match of the Earned Income Tax Credit. That puts a lot of money in people's pockets who are going to spend it. It helps us avoid the ridiculous situation of Tabor refunds and helps us focus our resources on people that really need it. And that's something that gets me going. So those are, thank you. Those are a couple of policy pieces. You know, I could get into the weeds about X, Y, and Z policy, but I think it's more important sometimes to know what your candidate's values are, because you never know what kind of issues are going to come up. You want to know their values instead of their precise vision on everything. So my values, I think that we need elected officials who are accessible to the people, who are diligent, put in humble, hard work, and are representing people, not profits. And people and not corporate profits. You know, there's been more attention paid to the undue influence of special interest money in politics this cycle. And I'll tell you, I admit, I took $50 in PAC money from a mental health professionals PAC. That's it. I don't think, I hope that that is not going to unduly influence my decision making. There have been thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in special interest money from insurance companies, developers, and tort reformers that support a lot of Republicans on the other side of my race. Is that going to be an undue influence on my competition? I don't know. But I tell you this, I can guarantee you that I am going to be standing up for people, not special interests. And I hope that you'll support me in my effort to get to the State House, because you need an elected official who cares more about advancing your careers than advancing their own. So, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Aaron Goldhamer, thank you.
I would now like to put these candidates on the ballot, and we will begin balloting. If you have, remember we have assembly delegates and convention delegates. The assembly delegates will have both candidates' names. Thank you, David. They will have both candidates' names, rip it out, drop it in the box. After you mark it, okay? We will now begin balloting. Also, Curtis Zito, Jason Langfield, Bruce Barnum, Ellen Kelman, Jared Munger, and